got all sorts to think about.
Let's sit down. It's not bad, is it? Really, it's quite close enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a decent camera as well.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah. Are you pinning or you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, pin them or whatever you want to do. I mean, it should pick it up from like there. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So. Right. So first, mate, we're going to start with like an icebreaker.
Oh, right, okay.
So I said on your form, I said, what's the one thing you can talk about comfortably? And you said fitness.
Yeah.
But I've changed that.
Right.
So I'm going to give you a choice between either Newcastle United or UFC.
Oh.
And my question, so whichever you choose, the question's going to be either what are the top best 3 players ever for Newcastle United or the top 3 UFC fighters of all time.
Right.
So you choose. I've written my
theory.
Cool. Yeah, it.
Let's go MMA. UFC.
MMA, okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, pick your top 3. I know it's an almost impossible question.
Yeah, you've started off with an absolute solid one.
Forget health and fitness, mate. We'll just have a chat about this.
No, someone who always stuck out for me. I mean, I've been watching UFC MMA from about 2005, 2006. So I got in the early days, and it was
really early days.
It was through my mum's friend who got me into it, and he gave me these videos, and I whacked them in. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And that's the first time I'd ever. But for me, like peak era for me was Anderson Silva.
Yeah,
he's my number one.
Is he?
He went through a stage of just annihilating people within a round. A couple of rounds, he used to mess about with people for fun,
like a game.
Yeah, and he was like the boogeyman, and nobody would. Like everyone's, oh yeah, I've found a way to beat him and this and that, and no, it never happened. It never happened. So that's my number one.
Straight in. That's pretty confident as well.
Straight in at number one. Think at his peak.
Yeah.
There wasn't many better.
No. And he like transcended the sport, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Number 2. Ooh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna go GSP.
Okay, I've put him down.
Have you?
I put Anderson Silva down as well. As my number 3 though.
See, we're very similar in that sense. We appreciate excellence, I guess.
Definitely.
GSP because when he dominated around about the time Silva was, there was always that talk of a super fight, and it never happened. The amount of different styles of fighters that came GSP's way, and he was just like, all right,
with them all,
I'll adapt to your style, and I'll beat you doing your style, and he did that. And
that's his greatest strength, isn't it? Really.
Oh yeah. I remember watching him like the back end before like the Johnny Hendricks fight.
Yeah,
he got to the stage where he was doing gymnastics and shit like that.
He's a legend, though.
Yeah,
he really is.
He was like, I'm not bored of my normal training. What can I do outside the box to mix it up? And he looked like an athlete anyways. He was just jacked, and he come in. But the third one, that's a hard one. That
it can be current. Yeah, it could be current. Like, it doesn't have to have retired yet. So I've gone John Jones as my top.
Yeah,
But do you know what? It's more. I've considered like personality and stuff in this, and how engaging they are and how controversial, and so it's not just pure. But even based on pure ability, John Jones would be up there anyway. But yeah, he's my number 1. Yeah,
I'm going to put him in number 3. The thing is, you could put any of them in any order.
Yeah, of course you could,
and you could argue the toss for any of them. But yeah, John Jones, I forgot about him, because he's come back. He's had a fight with Cyril Gane, and he disappeared again. It's like, what's going on? I remember him when he first come in.
Yeah.
Loads of hype around him. His style was so much better than it is now.
Yeah, it was.
He was wild.
It was more raw, wasn't it?
I remember his elbows were just vicious.
Like razor blades.
Did you ever see the Stephan Bonner fight?
Yeah.
He hit him with a spinning back elbow, and he just knocked him in the next week. And Bonner was like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. And the only loss he's got in his career, which shouldn't technically be a loss, was against Matt Hamill.
Is that a no contest, or is it still?
No, he got disqualified because it was north-south elbows. But they weren't north-south elbows because he was coming from a diagonal. Anyways, he full mounted Hamill, just rained him with elbows, destroyed him, and they DQ'd him because they said they were north to south. But he got no warnings if you watch the fight.
But that'll be an annoyance for him, won't it?
Massively. But he always says, "Well, I didn't lose. I know I didn't lose because the guy didn't lay a finger on me. I absolutely mauled him," which he did. And then you go into his era where he defended the belt like 5-6 times against like Rampage, Machida, Rashad Evans. Like, ridiculous.
For me, who was the guy who got in the choke against the cage and just let go of him?
Machida.
That, for me, that's one of the most savage things I've ever seen in my life, mate.
In the early parts of that fight, he was struggling to get the range on Machida, with Machida having that karate style. And he couldn't find the range, so he just grabbed a hold of him, like you say, he tied him up, and then boom, he knocked it in. And like you say, he didn't tap, so he just passed out, and he just dropped him, and he literally flopped like a bag of potatoes or something like that.
It was mental.
Like you say, the way he walked off and so ruthless, I was like, he's a bad man, him, and
he really beast. Is,
mate. But yeah, you could put them in any order you want, but for me, at their peaks,
it's interesting how we've got this, like the same three, though.
It is, yeah, but I think,
you know what I mean?
We're more of a striking background, both of us. I mean, I've done elements of jiu-jitsu and stuff, but we all like to see that. We all like to see the knockouts.
You're watching UFC, and like you say, when you started watching it really early doors, it's because it's savage.
That's what I was watching it for. Yeah. I mean, you know, submissions are impressive. Don't get me wrong. Like if you take Mighty Mouse against,
I was gonna put him in.
Were you gonna put him in there?
I was, honestly.
Yeah, against close. Oh, what was he called? Do you remember when he suplexed into armbar? Remember that? That had never been done before. And that's when jiu-jitsu for me was like, Jesus Christ. Everyone stood up and was like, wow, this kid's insane. But he would be up there. But from me being a striker, I had to have mainly strikers in there.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
They're a good three, mate.
Oh yeah, I think they're all Hall of Famers as well, pretty
definitely. And we'll see because he's fighting Stipe, ain't he, next?
Yeah.
Or supposed to be.
Yeah. I think
that'll be a good fight.
I think that's meant to be November, potentially. MSG, I think.
Yeah.
But, like you say, what Stipe is going to turn up, I think Jones will win either way.
I do.
But if Stipe fancies one more swan song, because I think when he got mauled by Ngannou, it was a bit like, my head's been knocked off.
He's had time to. This will be an indicator, won't it? Of you know, it'll either be this or nothing again. He's done his stuff, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the best ever heavyweights.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Even if he loses to Jones, he'll get paid an absolute wedge for it anyways.
Massive amount.
So you know, we'll see what that brings. But after that, then what does Jones do? Because Tom Aspinall's knocking at the door.
Yeah, he looked great in his last
I think
fight.
He needs one more fight to against the top three to see if he's really got
Who's fighting next in Paris? Is it Cyril Gane and someone?
Spivak.
Because he wants the winner of that.
Yeah, he does. And Spivak's
no joke.
A knockout artist. I don't know if you've seen his last 5 fights. He's flattened everybody in the round.
He's an animal,
man. He's mauling people like you know, like Curtis Blades. He absolutely annihilated him.
Yeah. And he's no joke either.
No, exactly. Like a lot of big boys, he's just absolutely mashing. So Aspinall Spivak would be the #1 contender fight. Whether that'll not happen this year though. I think it'll happen next year, but we've got a while to wait. But it'll be interesting to see if Jones sticks around or if he just says, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm done. I want to go party and do some coke again.
Yeah. Probably.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. So Jones, George St Pierre, and Anderson till the top 3. That is pretty ruthless, mate. Right. So that's the icebreaker. So first thing I want to run through is just give me an overview of what you do. What's like your history within health and fitness, kind of how you fit it in, what kind of style of training, just a little overview of you in general, really.
So I'm a teacher now.
Yeah.
Well, was a teacher. I've just come out of it. Yeah. And when we met, I was a teacher as well as a PT.
Yeah.
And we've done a couple of years together, PTing at the same gym.
Yeah.
That's probably the big thing I would talk about, because I shot myself in the foot slightly by thinking I could juggle both jobs and do my own training at the same time. Oh yeah. I mean, you know, when that gym opened, we all dived in head first. I had 20 plus clients. I was still working full time. I was doing about 60 plus hours a week, burning myself into the ground. The money was amazing, but I was knackered. Absolutely knackered. So then from that, I kind of thought, actually, no, this is stupid. Everyone wants money course to do, but it wasn't making me happy. So I scaled it down to 15 clients while still working.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, while still working full time. And then what I even done is I even went part-time in teaching. And I used to do 3 days teaching and the rest PT.
Yeah.
And that was a better balance for me. 15 clients was still a handful.
Yeah.
But because I had that little bit more time to balance it and juggle it, plan everything out, I went with it and I did it, and it made me feel a whole lot better. The reason why I'd done that was because I remember going home at Christmas, one Christmas, and my mum took one look at me and she said, "You've lost weight."
They know, don't they?
And I was
your
just
mum
like,
knows.
"Oh, come on."
Straight away.
That was the killer for me. When your mum says you've lost weight or you look different, you take notice.
Brings you 3 dinners out.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, I was, delving into my training, very much bodybuilder style training. I was skinny as a kid, so I wanted to get bigger. That was my main focus. So bodybuilding was that. My dad was a bodybuilder when he was younger. Which kind of gave me the appetite for it. So when your mom says you've lost weight and when you think that you're working hard and pushing some good weight, I wasn't, because I was neglecting my training. I was doing probably three of my own sessions a week, and I wasn't pushing big numbers. I wasn't pushing, my max. I was doing maintenance.
Ticking over.
I was ticking over. I was doing maintenance, and that was the wake up call. So obviously I scaled everything down and then got back into with my training, because I was the advert for my business, just like you're the advert for your business. And started to put a bit of size back on and what have you, and I felt a million times better. Then the next time I went to see my mum, she was like, "Oh, you're looking healthier now." I was like, "Yeah."
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because when your mum or your dad make a comment like that, it's they're saying you've lost weight, but what they're really saying is something's not right. But the weight kind of just represents that, if that makes sense. That's their way of.
But they just know how to get you thinking, like how to ping the alarm bell. Because I mean, if I hadn't have done that, I probably would have kept pushing with 20 plus clients and try and get as many as I can and whatever else. Which is, we know people who've done that. And it's not right, because you're not giving the client time that they need.
I'm glad you've said that, because that's one of my big issues. Is I've always juggled this philosophy of I need more, but I'll under deliver. So I've kind of, over the last 3 years, worked out where roughly within 2 or 3 I need to be to big good service levels, but I'm not going to get burnt out. And it always kind of goes up a bit and goes down. But I think that's what's hard about PTing, that people don't really realise, is you've got a bar of energy, and every time, in a good way, but you've only got a certain amount to expend, haven't you?
I agree. And then you've got to have like a bit of a cooling off period where you might let a few go because they're ready to go, and then you think, actually, I'm not gonna actively look for clients. I'm gonna take a breather myself, concentrate on me, like you said, recoup mentally, physically, whatever. Because physical PT is hard work.
It is, mate.
When you're loading and unloading plates all the time. Jesus.
Probably moving around about 10,000 kilos.
Honestly,
a week.
if you get a male or a female client who can push some weight on a leg press or something, you're racking up 20s for fun.
I dread it.
And then, taking them off. I used to say to my clients, I was like, I'm getting the sweat on here, and you're the one that's working out.
And they're just chilling in the chair, like mid-set, just
I'm
relaxing.
taking 250 off the whole thing, and I'm like,
I'm happy for you, but I don't want to move these.
Jesus Christ! and I always did it as a courtesy, because I thought, right, the session's about you. I'm going to make sure that you're the one working, but I'll do everything else in between. I'll take the plates off, I'll set everything up to what it needs to be. I just want you focusing on that exercise, and that's kind of it. But going back to my training, because I got on a tangent there. Bodybuilding style training's always been my passion. Just because my dad. But then obviously I watched a lot of like Mr. Olympia and things like that when I was young. Then I was like just fascinated by like Dorian Yates, Jay Cutler, all them like big boys.
It's like almost a super, what do you call it? Like a superhero. Kind of, but in human form, isn't it?
What I mean? that kind of thing. I mean, I always I watched wrestling as a kid. All wrestlers are jacked.
Massive.
I used to remember The Rock. The Rock is ridiculous now, but in wrestling, when he come on as a young gun, he was just chiseled, and that was it. But everybody was obviously the whole steroids, and you're like, whoa, look at the size of them. That was it pretty much. And then I watched Strongman as a youngin as well. Like, I watch it with my mom religiously from early 2000s. And I remember seeing Mariusz Pudzianowski.
I knew you were going to say him.
He is like the the anomaly in bodybuilding. I think he's the best bodybuilder, not bodybuilder, the best strongman ever, because he won 5 titles and nobody won more. And he had that bodybuilder physique, but he was just as strong and powerful as all of your standard block, big lumps, you know.
100%.
And he had some battles with a bunch of strong men, but he was a showman, but he just looked like an absolute tank.
Yeah, always an animal.
And that was great. And like I say, predominantly bodybuilding. I have tried CrossFit.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I like it. I like the continuous aspect of it, like going for multiple reps, like high rep ranges, into one thing, into the other. You haven't really got time to eat your breath, and you're on to the next thing. I like that for conditioning.
Yeah.
I don't like it as a main source of training, because I think on your joints, eventually you're going to end up, you know, with arthritis when you're older, because they're overused. The amount of reps. I mean, we primarily do bodybuilding, and where our rep ranges is anything 4 to 6, 8 to 10, 10 to 12. Not really much after that. Maybe 15 if you're going to go for a burnout. But that's our rep ranges, and we'll do, you know, 4 sets. We ain't doing like, you know, reps for time and things like that, and doing like 20 reps of something, clean and jerks, 20 off the belt, and then into ski ergs or into handstands. I don't know.
Everything else.
And like, I always watch the CrossFit highlights of CrossFit Games, and just think, you're absolute animals. Like, I love it, and their physiques are insane, but I don't enjoy it enough to want to do it.
No.
I said to you a couple of weeks ago, I was doing that challenge with my girlfriend.
We
went to a powerlifting, Olympic lifting style, bit of CrossFit style gym, and I got into it on the CrossFit side, but the Olympic lifting, I was so bored. I was just deadlifting, squatting, and snatching, and I was like, it's good, but you need to give me variety, otherwise I'm.
And if you want to be really good at something, you need to put 100%.
Oh, and you know, I done it mainly for her, and it gave me, you know, I learned some new things. Of course, I learned how to snatch, which is hard, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Very hard.
I don't really think I can.
You don't realise, it was bloody hard, and I wasn't even snatching much weight. It's the technique you got to get. It's not like bodybuilding where we can build strength up. It's more about the technique for a long time, and then you start getting that strength. But bodybuilding, you know, was my first love in terms of training. And kind of always will be.
What is it? What would you say it is? So you've obviously dabbled in CrossFit. You've done, you know, some of the Olympic lifting, but obviously boxing, bodybuilding. What about the bodybuilding style training ticks that box for you? Is it a feeling, or is it a result-based thing, or maybe both?
Both, because I think, again, like I said earlier on, I'd done it because I was skinny. My appearance, I was bothered about it. So I wanted to get bigger. And because my dad, and my dad was at his peak about 17 stone.
Wow.
Probably, you know, I mean, what you in now? You're what, 17, 18?
Stone?
Yeah.
No, mate, I'm well light at the moment.
Are you lighter now?
Lost loads of weight. Just because I'm doing...
Probably your heaviest. What were you at?
16 and a half.
Yeah, my dad was at 17.
Yeah.
Muscle, pretty much predominantly. Yeah, a little bit of a gut, but probably muscle. I just remember his arms and his shoulders, and I was like, I want that.
Yeah. When it's his dad as well.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That must be the way.
And I looked up to him, like, because I was watching all the strongman stuff and the bodybuilding stuff, and he'd done it. I was like, this is how I get bigger. This is, you know, my life revolved around football when I was younger. I was skinny and I was fast. Nobody could catch me. You know, I was a winger. I was great. In terms of speed, I could burn most people. But then I got to a stage where I was about just 418. I thought, right, I need to put some size on now, because I got knocked off the ball quite easy as well. So there was another factor. And I was like, right, I want to get strong. I want to look good and feel good. That's the 3 main factors that anybody will tell you. That's why they 100%. Want to train for. And then I think within about 6-7 months, went on protein shakes and I was training, I put about nearly a stone on. I was like, oh, this is great.
Mass gainers.
Yeah, that's what I was on. That's what it was. And I did a lot of research on it, and I asked my dad and things like that. And I was kind of doing my own thing, winging it. And I just learned by that. And then I don't know if you remember that bodybuilding book that you got that I recommended.
Yeah, I got it.
I got that.
Brilliant book.
And I looked through it, and obviously, you know how much detail it has in it.
A lot of detail.
I learned so much from that in terms of exercises and types, you know, different exercises for certain body parts and variation for each body part as well. And that kind of, that learned me an awful lot.
Yeah.
I would say that book's probably learned me at least half of what I know.
It is so detailed, though.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, almost too much to a point. I'm
it
like,
is,
do I need to know that little muscle fiber?
Because if you look at how much depth it goes into on the physiology side, it's mad. But I was just looking at, you know, like you say, what the exercise was, what it did, the right way to do it, the wrong way to do it. Practice that technique. Once I feel my muscle working, I think I've got it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it.
It's definitely a feel-based sport.
Oh yeah.
And if you're not feeling it, you're not doing it right.
And that's another part of why I love bodybuilding so much, because again, we spoke last week briefly when I came in to the gym, and I said that I've got some consistency back.
Yeah.
And I feel stronger. Like, my training now is really good. I'm enjoying it.
That's good.
I'm very excited about going into the gym because I'm pushing
brilliant.
hard, but I can feel my muscles.
Yeah,
you know,
connecting with it.
I'm really pushing it now to the point where, you know, I'm going to failure on quite a lot of things, and I'm knackered afterwards, and it burns and it hurts and blah blah blah. But feeling that is nice because I know I'm going to recover and I'm going to grow.
Yeah.
And you know,
and it just feels good, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you took the physical, if you took the results aside, you'd still probably do it. When you
yeah. No, it does feel good, and I like the. I mean, you'll probably, it might be one of something you want to ask me question wise, you know, in a bit, but you're always going to hurt when you train. If you ain't hurting, you're not doing it properly.
No, definitely not.
Because we've all done a maintenance week where we've just gone in and cruised. You won't hurt them, but you've already built the muscle anyway.
Yeah, of course,
that's a back off week.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, when we're, you know, when we've got clients and we've got them for the first 6 weeks, I always say to them, it's a hill climb for 6 weeks. You're gonna hurt. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna think, oh God, I can't be able to do this. The DOMs are creeping in. Everything like that. And you either get the mentality in there and then, or you don't.
Yeah, we've spoke about this maybe a few months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's that crossroads, isn't it? And I'm trying to explain that this will get better, but you've got to keep almost pursuing that pain.
Yeah.
And trust that you'll get through it. But if you can't see far enough ahead, you're in trouble, I think.
And that's why we're valuable in terms of PTs, because I think your difference between a PT and an online coach. Your online coach is someone who works with people who kind of already know what they're doing, but they just need more direction. Whereas a PT is somebody who is going to get you through the hard yards.
Yeah, definitely.
And I used to, you know, you might have a client once a week, you might have a client twice a week. Regardless of what it is, when they come in, you know, you'll ask them, you know, how their week's gone or how their training's going, and you always ask that to kind of gauge where they're at, and you'll follow, you know, have you been following your training plan? Let me see what your PB's at, and and all this kind of stuff, and you'll know whether they're on it or they're not. And I've had to not tell people off,
but
you know,
difficult give them conversations.
Give them a little bit of a kick up the backside and say, you're paying me for this. I'm giving you everything you need. You need to meet me halfway. You need to do for you more than anybody else. If you want to do it, you'll do it. I can give you everything you need, but I need that drive from you. I'm trying to install my kind of motivation, determination, consistency into you. You've got to just take it in and go with it.
On that note, though, I always remember I spoke to a few when coach first opened, maybe 6 months after, and I'd say half my clients were doing well and the other half were just a little bit more lazy and not really putting the work in. I remember asking one of the managers and a couple of the PTs, what would you do in this situation? And their response was, are they still paying you? And I said, yeah. And they said, so what's the problem then? And I struggled with that because as cheesy as this is going to sound, I give a shit. I'm really invested.
No, but that's what a decent PT is. That is exactly.
I couldn't believe that response, because I was thinking, I'm not doing this because I need a job. I'm doing this for a very particular reason, and obviously I want to get paid for it. But I was a bit surprised at that kind of response. We'll just take the money and you're okay.
You see, that's
strange, isn't it?
It's easy for them to say. Very easy for them to say. But I mean, I'd never do that. I had clients with me over a year. And I said, right, I said, I think that you are ready. Do you feel ready? And I'd leave that with them. I said, right, well, we've got, I don't know, 3-4 sessions on your block. We're going to see how you feel at the end of this block. So give or take, you know, a month. Be honest with me. Tell me tell me what you think. Are you ready or are you not? And I had a client who, she was in insane shape, really, very, very good shape. And I thought she was ready. And she went, I'm there physically, Dean, but I haven't got the confidence yet. I want to go another block with you. So we went another block, and she's like, right now I'm ready.
That's brilliant.
And that's it. And I was like, yes, you know, my job is done. Transformation was great. Pushing some big weight for her size. You know, she was confident. She loved how she looked. She got a bunch of compliments. People said, "Are you a PT?" to her, and she absolutely lapped it up. When she told me that, when she told me that, I was just like, "Bang! I've done my job. I'm good."
Great,
I get the massive satisfaction from it. But yeah, I'd never keep somebody on for the sake of the money. No. There's always somebody around the corner that wants to put the work in, and you'll earn the money from them, but you'll actually help them and do what you said you were going to do.
That was one of the biggest mindset shifts for me, because I was thinking, if I conduct myself in a way where I'm scared of losing a client, it's never going to come across confidently enough. Whereas if I behave in a way that my standards are this, that's going to like come out of me, isn't it?
Exactly.
The way I communicate and conduct myself in the gym. So that was a big shift for me. Rather than I need another client because I need an extra £200-300 a month. I need another client because I want to take them to this kind of level.
Exactly, mate.
It's good what you've mentioned there, though, because it kind of drip feeds into a lot of these other questions. Because the next one was, what's your health and fitness philosophy? So I think you've pretty much touched on all that. It's like a bodybuilding approach. In terms of going into the nutrition side, what's your, obviously it's goal dependent, you know, do you want to gain, do you want to lose? But generally, what's your approach to your nutrition?
My approach at the minute is, I don't calorie count, but I watch my portion sizes. I have everything in moderation. My diet's clean Monday to Friday, and then the weekend I'll let it go a bit, and you know, I'll have what I want, whether that's Five Guys burger, a pizza, just Chinese, whatever, something that I enjoy, but I know it's fatty and greasy and whatever else. But I've worked hard through the week. I've stayed on it. But again, with my clients, I used to do the same. I used to go, right, I would calorie count with them. Because I mean, I've trained since I was 17, and I'm in my 30s now. I've trained for a long time. I kind of know what my body does and what it doesn't. But with them, they don't have a clue, so you kind of start on a base with them. So I always used to get them to do a food diary. They'd come back to me with it. You know, I'd have all the calories on, so we'd tot up what their calories were, and we'd say, right, what's realistic? You know, what can we moderate? What can we stamp out completely? Is there anything? If there's not, how can we just bring it down a notch, just so you're getting that satisfaction from chocolate or whatever it is, but you're not absolutely piling it in and you know, storing that as body fat. And that's kind of what we did. But for me, like I say, when I'm on a bulk, it's hard for me to bulk because my metabolism's so high. So I have to eat.
A lot of calories, isn't it?
As we know now, food's expensive.
Oh, mate. Meat is too. Honestly, telling me, mate.
Meat's ridiculously expensive now.
Don't you think the quality is lacking a little bit, especially in supermarkets?
It's pumped full of water. You know,
it's really bothering me.
When you know, batch cook a pack of chicken, a big pack of chicken, whatever, it comes out and you can see it's just lost a ton of water. And you're like, I'm not, you know, I've paid however much for this pack of chicken. I'm not really getting what it was.
In the last sort of 1 to 2 years, I've really noticed.
Massively.
It's crazy.
Like inflation's crazy, but everything's going up money-wise, but all the portion sizes are getting smaller. That's what I've noticed massively. Packs of meat and all this kind of stuff. It says that it weighs 2 kg net weight. Full of water, probably 1.5, which is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, getting on the diet, it's very strict through the week, and then at a weekend, you know, I'll ease up a little bit.
And then if, say, you wanted to lose, how would you adjust that kind of balance?
So what I do is, I think this is strong will and mindset that I've just ingrained over a long time. But I will cut out sweets and chocolate and stuff. I normally have, like, let's say, I don't know, a biscuit every day, like a breakaway or a timeout or something like that. I'll get rid of that completely.
Just get it out of there.
And I can do that because I've got the mindset, and I'm thinking, right, I've got a bigger goal. I want to get, you know, the 2-pack to a 4-pack or the 4 to a 6 or whatever. and I'll do that. And I don't know a lot of people don't have that.
No.
That comes from years of training.
Do you know what's really, because this is something, it's weird how this has just led to this, like by accident almost, because this is something I wanted to talk about is, you know, online you have the camp of everything in moderation, don't eliminate, because you should enjoy your life and you should be able to eat what you like within reason. And then you have the other people who are very strict, eliminate a lot of things, and they're kind of fighting with each other online, essentially, aren't they?
Yeah.
And my opinion has always been, it depends on the individual psychology.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, because I know I've got quite an addictive personality, it is easier for me to say, don't buy it, because if it's in the cupboard, I probably don't have the willpower to say no, and that's just me being honest.
My girlfriend's very much like that.
Do you know what I mean?
You know,
but if it's not there, I'm not tempted.
No, oh yeah, exactly. But I always think, can I find a substitute for it?
Yeah.
That's like low-cal or something completely different, but it still gives me satisfaction. Like one of my go-tos is peanut butter.
Is it?
I love peanut butter.
Yeah.
I could spoon out of the jar. But what I do, let's say I've taken that chocolate out. Let's say I've taken, I don't know, a really high calorie yogurt or something. Let's say some Greek yogurt. I'll go down to 0% fat Greek yogurt. Stuff like that. But with peanut butter, I'll just buy them, light rice cakes, bit of peanut butter on, very light snack. Gives me the satisfaction because the peanut butter, I've got the taste. It just gives me that little bit of like, ooh, I've got the taste of something I really, really like. It's sweet. I know, in massive doses it's not good for me, but I know in a small dose it just quells that urge a little bit, puts it away.
That's good advice.
And I'm good. That's what I do. And that's what I've done for a while.
But your mentality as well, so you're essentially finding a strategy that fits perfectly.
And it is hard for everybody. I mean, going back to that before, like you say, if you know that you haven't got the willpower to leave it, don't buy it.
That's what I'm like.
Like my girlfriend could buy, I don't know, Big Bora Galaxy. And I could get by on literally a couple of cubes a day. Again, it just feeds it just feeds the urge. And she can't. No. She'd have 2 rows at a time.
That's what
and she always goes, right. No word of a lie, she does this. She'll get it and she'll go, right, give me my allowance. And I'll snap off whatever.
That's so funny.
What to give her. Because she's like, you have to, if not, I'll eat it all in a day. Whereas I can get that, I can make that last a week if I want.
That's
which is mad.
But it's good.
But that comes from years and years of discipline. And when I've set my mind to something, I'll go with it until I've got the outcome that I want. And I know that, I mean, God, the kind of little mini cut type thing that I'm on now, with getting all my training consistent and all this kind of stuff, like, I'm still putting on a bit of size, but I'm also trying to trim down because I want to get rid of this. And it's working. And there's days where, you look in the fridge and you'll see mousses and yogurts, or you'll look in the freezer and see a massive pizza and you think, oh, I could absolutely annihilate that now. Like, my urge to eat at the moment is crazy. I could eat probably 1,500 more calories than I'm eating, but I'm not, because I've got that goal in mind. When I get down to that goal and I maintain it, then I'll start being a little bit more slack and being like, right, let's just shove it in, that kind of thing. So
what would be your, because this was a question further down, but it's a really good time to ask it. So to trust that process because you've been through that process quite a few times. So if you do X, you will get to Y. What would you say to a beginner who has similar urges, who has never experienced a cut or fat loss? What would you say to them? Would it be focus on why you're doing it, the end result? Would that be the kind of approach you'd have?
I think, again, going back to getting, like, you've got a new client, you have that initial meeting with them, we sit down with them for an hour and we go through everything. And I always go, right, tell me what you want. Like, is it aesthetics that you want? Is it weight loss? Is it confidence? Is it feeling good about yourself? Tell me what, and it's normally all of that. Depending on what we're doing. Let's just say it is weight loss. And I always go, right, how long have you been at this weight for? Just don't mind me asking. And, like, take me through a history. Take me back to when you were 18, let's say they're 25, 26 now.
Yeah.
You were 18. Were you at this weight at that point, or were you slimmer, or were you this, or were you that? And I'll get a brief context and a brief history, and then I always go, right, did you play a sport? And they'd go, yes, or they'd go, no. If they did, I'm like, do you play sport now? And 9 times out of 10, they say, oh, no, I haven't got time now. I can't. And I was like, right, okay, that's why this has initially started.
Yeah.
Because you have stopped playing that sport. You have put yourself into your job. You've ended up being sedentary, where you're not really moving around much. You're probably sitting at a computer or a desk or whatever. And then your metabolism goes down, metabolic rate goes down, everything just goes down. But the eating doesn't. The eating the eating increases because it then starts to fill gaps where you used to play sport or you used to do this, and you're doing it because you're bored.
Definitely, yeah.
And that's that. So I always kind of get that in if that's what it is, and it kind of hits home, and they go, oh my god, yeah, I used to play netball. Yeah, you know, I used to train twice a week and play on a weekend or something. Or I used to play football, or I used to play rugby, or whatever it may be. And I'm saying, right, you know, you've got 3 hours of physical activity, which you no longer do. Yeah, I'm not surprised that this has happened. Yeah, and then I'm going like, you know, we can base training around certain aspects of, well, you know, sport in terms of, am I going to put some CrossFit style stuff in? Am I going to put some HIIT in? You know, is it going to be predominantly bodybuilding? Is it going to be, you know, just working on getting that weight down? And I always kind of weigh everything up, and I end up chucking everything together anyway.
So essentially what you're saying really is you're digging deeper into them as a personality.
I always find out a background, because if you know the background, then you're kind of half there in terms of what you want to do and what you think you should be doing. Because, you know, there's always that standard blueprint of, I think it's obviously a misconception, but a lot of people come in overweight, right, whack them on a treadmill. Yeah. Which I've heard that a million times. I'm like, what the hell are you on
about,
man?
Drives me mad, that, you know.
I'm just like, shut up. It just does my nothing. I was like, there's so many more aspects to train, and then whack them on a treadmill, make sure they're burning calories. No, it's not about that, man. It's not. That's how you bore somebody. That's how you...
Really, though, because I think that you've touched upon something important there with the calorie burning. So many people are focused on that. But I like to see things as building a mentality so that it serves you forever. And anyone can go and walk on a treadmill, but not everyone can go do a dumbbell press, or you have to learn and execute it and then progress it over time. And that kind of strong will and mentality you build by doing that over 12, 24 weeks is so important in you know, longevity and stuff like that.
Fully agree. I mean, I miss PT now that I don't do it. Yeah. But the best part of PT was learning, you know, teaching them all the exercises in the beginning. Definitely. And styles of training, you know, whether it's intervals, whether it's HIIT, you know, and when it comes to the cardio stuff, because anybody that comes in overweight, as soon as they see, or as soon as they hear you say, right, we're going to put some cardio in, they're like, oh god, they absolutely dread it.
Their eyes roll.
Yeah, and you can see the fear in their eyes, because they think that you're going to absolutely beast them.
Yeah.
And you know,
where do you think that comes from? Do you think it used to be a bit more of a military style?
I think it
coaching,
does. I think it's very much like
screaming at people.
Can you remember? You might remember Bad Lads Army years and years ago. The TV program I was on ITV.
Oh, where they got people who were just wasters.
They took them in like a 1940s, 1950s
God, that's
style.
Really brought something back now.
You remember that?
I do, mate.
You remember the 2 like corporals that used to shout at them, like grill them? Like,
I'm looking at that up on YouTube.
You remember that? That was a great show, because he used to kick off and, you know, like literally be in their faces, like screaming, and used to put them through like big fitness tests and like you know, cardio for days. And I don't know whether it's that generation from like, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s kind of era. Yeah. Because my mum used to tell me about how my granddad was in the army. He boxed in the army, but he said the fitness was grueling. Yeah. They used to do miles upon miles of runs. And like, you know, I'm talking about cross-country hill style runs as well. Yeah. And I think that mentality of cardio, just get on a treadmill and bloody run, comes from all the way back then. Whereby now, I mean, we both incorporated, I did, but you know, you still do now with your clients, a lot of HIIT stuff, a lot of interval stuff, you even stuff like, you know, the CrossFit or the high rocks style stuff that you're kind of doing a lot of now, because you're going to obviously end up doing a high rocks. When I used to introduce it that way, they were like, oh, all right, this is quite fun, this.
Yeah.
And you would see the relief kind of like just come out of them.
Yeah, definitely.
It would be like a weight lifted off the shoulder, because they thought I was going to whack them on a treadmill and put the incline up to 10 and say, right, go for 20 minutes or for a half an hour, that kind of thing. But now it's
really education in it.
Oh my God, yeah.
New things,
and that was the big thing that I did with PT. I would drip feed them knowledge. I wouldn't overload them, because then they'd forget it all. So I would drip feed knowledge in terms of exercise, rep ranges, how to do it properly, how to feel that it's working, and then, you know, why you're doing it, what it's going to do for you on an aerobic sense, what it's going to do for you on a muscular sense. And that's kind of the way I got it across. Whereas, like you say, the Bad Lads Army type stuff was like, just do it, get in there. And
it's entertainment. I mean, God, it's great, brilliant, but it's not. That would probably satisfy like 0.1% of the population, but not everyone else.
I remember like having a few clients that were like, "You're not going to shout at me, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm not." Where the hell does that come from? Like, I'd never shout at you. Like, I would raise my voice in encouragement, like, "Come on, come on," that kind of thing. But I would never be like, "Get it!" And I've heard a few people say that they would like that, and I'm like, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I wouldn't. No. Encouragement's fine. I can change my tone of voice slightly, but it's more encouragement than it is like aggressive and like, you know, barking at them. Because I don't think that comes across as nice. Because like you say, you know, the 99.9% of people want you to actually talk to them and encourage them and build the confidence in them.
Before we carry on, mate, I'm just going to check everything's still recording, and then we'll...
No, that's fine, mate.
It's my goal is... what I want, bloody hell, 42 minutes already.
Is it?
Jesus Christ.
We're flying.
What I want to try and do is, I'm going to post the whole thing, but I want to extract clips.
Oh, do it.
You know what I mean?
And then that's the best way. There's certain parts that you really want to make stand out.
Yeah, definitely.
Amplify. No, that's fine, mate.
Right, this was a good time to pause, actually. What are your pet hates about the health and fitness industry? Or what things come to mind which you hate? You know, you might be on Instagram scrolling and you'll see and you just think, not this again, or it's something that triggers you.
The biggest one, I think we have talked about it a couple of times in the past. Influencers. Right? And they've got, they're getting paid to be an influencer, they're getting sponsored, they've got this and they've got that and whatever else. And you see them doing so many comfortable workouts. Like, and the whole glutes all the time does my nutting. Like,
but they're not doing that. Let's say someone's built a good bum. The exercise on Instagram is just the one that looks good for their angle and stuff, but it's not the one that's built it.
And exactly, like, you know, you'll see all these different variations of crossover lunges and bloody weird variations of kickbacks and stuff like that. And you know, I've got like about 4 exercises which I swear by to grow glutes. And I did them with all my clients, and I got good results from it. I really did. But all these fancy variations that you see purely for Instagram and TikTok and whatever else does my absolute head in. And the fact that when I used to post training videos, you would see me absolutely blowing. You would see me go at my heaviest, and I'd go for 2 or 3 reps. And my face was red. My face looked like a gremlin. I was pushing like hell. And I want to see influencers out of their comfort zone, because I want to see them working for what they've got. And you know, they probably have put the work in, but a lot of them are just genetically gifted. And I'm just like, you haven't worked for that. You haven't.
Definitely. And the thing is as well, you know, we all know when you're young, you can get away with things. And I think a lot of women are in a bit of a predicament, because these influencers make it look like it's easy. And then because you're young and say you're not a mum and you haven't got much stress, you almost think, oh, this is true. Because I'm young and my metabolism's high and I'm getting away with it. But then when you get into your 30s and let's say you're a mum, that won't last anymore, will it? You know what I mean?
It won't, like you say, because your body will change.
Yeah.
Metabolism will completely change. Your genetics might actually fade a little bit, which is, you know, that's a fact. And you know, it's just not true. No. And another thing as well, these influencers, because they get paid to do all this kind of, they've got the time to spend doing all that. If you are busy, if you've got, you know, a job that's 40 hours a week standard, and you've got kids and you've got this and you've got that, you've got to try and fit an hour a day in, and you've got to try and watch your diet. But if you've got kids and stuff, your diet might go out the window because you're thinking, I'm not getting a chance to eat properly here, so I'm just going to binge. And that's what happens. And we've probably both had clients that were like that, and we found it very difficult to try and turn the corner with them. And, you know, it was trial and error by doing certain things or supplementing things which you weren't getting or whatever. And, you know, I've had some really hard challenges with clients whereby we've just hit a wall for a couple of months, and I'm like, what the hell do I do here? And, you know, you go away, you think about it, and you think, right, let's try that and see if it works. And it did or it didn't.
That's coaching, isn't it, mate?
And and that you know, that's where the coaching comes into it. But going back to pet hate, I hate angles. As in, like, the biggest one, right? I hate this because influencers on Instagram, they'll pop the hip out, which makes them look like they've got a bum. But if they were to stand upright and turn to the side, would that bum be there? No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. And I hate that. I hate that. Just popping that.
Buy my booty building program for $99.
And the pose every single time is pop the right out or pop the left out. Or you see another pose, which is a bodybuilding pose, female bodybuilding pose, where they stand front on, but the top half of the body comes forward and they suck in. Just stand straight. Let's see what you got. You know, do you have it or do you not? And that does my nutting, because
I'm with you on all of that, to be honest.
My girlfriend will follow certain influencers who really do work for their body and they look great. But you follow some people that I can tell straight away,
you know, don't you,
that you don't have that. Like, you're breathing in, you know, or you're sucking in whatever, or you're popping that hip out, or this or that. You don't have that big curvy bum that you think you've got, or, you know, that vacuum stomach, or the lion. You don't have it because you're literally just holding in. That's all you're doing. And there's probably hundreds of thousands of influencers doing that.
I think what bugs me, mate, is I'm intelligent enough to understand the way marketing works. But I feel that this industry carries a big responsibility, because this is people's lives and it's their health. So whilst I understand marketing and you're tweaking something maybe to look nicer on Instagram, it's taken it so far that it's becoming just outright false.
But
you know what I mean?
And that's exactly what it does, because it brainwashes people into thinking that there's millions and millions of people that actually look like that, but in real life they actually don't.
No.
And it's mad. And, like, you know, unless you're bloody Mr. Olympia, whatever, you don't look like that all the time.
No,
you don't. I mean, I know Mr. Olympia is extreme, but let's say
but even they don't, mate.
No, exactly. Really, you know, you see Chris Bumstead in his off season, comes off the gear, you know, eats kind of more what he wants. You see the gut come back, and you see, you know, and you see him pack a bit of water weight on and what have you. But, like, you know, influencers like, I don't know if you follow No1 Fitness or Mike Thurston or anything like that.
I know both of them actually.
Mike Thurston's like a bloody Greek god. And he's like that all year round. And I'm like, how have you? I mean, this genetics plays a part, but he must have been on something, or is on something. He has to be. He's come out and said he's not, and he's done blood work to say that he's not. But if you look at him,
but you know what though, mate? You know, when people think steroids as well, they think of just that it builds muscle. But there's thousands of control your body fat and curb eating. You can't just lump it all in with muscle growth, can you? Like Lance Armstrong, for example.
Well, exactly. You know what I mean? He took it for a completely different reason, and that was to give him the edge in terms of stamina over everybody else that was riding in, you know, cycling and stuff like that. But like you say, you've got, everyone thinks, oh, you're on steroids, you're just going to go boom. it's not always about that.
No.
You know, you can get certain type of steroids that will cut you.
Yeah,
you can get certain type of steroids that will bulk you.
Yeah.
You can get some that will increase your stamina.
And
stuff like that.
Send me some of them for high rocks, mate, if you find any.
Look at
I bloody need it.
Look at TJ Dillashaw when he got done for what did he get? A couple of years. He got a couple of years,
2 year ban,
and that was nothing muscle based or anything. That was helping to actually cut weight. Just to stay at one, you know, he's going to fight at 125, and to cut them extra 3 or 4 pounds, he needed, that steroid to do that. So there is a massive mix, like you say, and it's not always that stereotype of, oh, you're on steroids, you're just going to get jacked. There's like you say, there's thousands. The variations now are absolutely crazy.
What do you, from so we spoke mainly about women there in terms of the glute thing. What's your opinion on, because obviously you like bodybuilding, then you've got a lot of knowledge on it in terms of, you know, following it from when you were younger. What's your opinion on, how do I word this? So you're a young lad and you're skinny, and very much like we were both, we wanted to put on muscle for that reason. As much as you look up to your Dorian Yateses and your Arnies and stuff like that, do you think there needs to be any change in the way that people convey how hard it is to achieve a certain physique? Do you think it's misleading at the moment in the industry? Or I can look at that picture and think, oh, I just have to do these workout plans and I'll get there in 2 years. Do you see what I'm saying? Could we be more transparent?
I agree. I think the transparency things needs to be highlighted more. I don't think a lot of influencers do that. Like, even like I say, with big time bodybuilders, they don't do that because, again, steroids is very, very hush hush. But it's mainstream now because you can go to the gym and you can point out 5, 6. I mean, gym
like traps like this. There's acne all over their back and stuff.
The gym I train at, 85% of the members are on steroids because they all compete. They're all in bodybuilding shows, so they have a purpose to go on the gear, which is fair enough. They've reached a certain point, and they feel as though, you know, naturally they can't do anymore, so they'll go on the juice, and you know what, you know, we've all seen them, people just go boom like a balloon. But from a 16, 17-year-old looking in, thinking, oh, I'm going to get into training, and they're seeing all these videos online, people are absolutely jacked and they're lumping big weight around and stuff like that. They then think, oh, let me get a basic training plan. If I do this, I'll get that. I know I've got to eat a lot of protein, whatever. And if I keep, you know, if I train, I'll get like that. You know, that's literally the start. That was literally me back when I was, you know, earlier on in the conversation when I was telling you about, you know, seeing my dad do it, so I wanted to do it. I got that book, I got some weights, I'd done a bit of research and I started training, and that was that. And I got, you know, I put a stone on within about 6 months and I was buzzing. And then after hitting that initial stone of muscle, because, you know, I was skinny, so I would naturally put it on quick because my calories were increased as well. I then hit a plateau where I was like, whew, it's hard to build some, like, I'm finding it harder to build another stone. It took me about a year after that to get another stone. Like, they don't realize that there's, you know, they might think there's 3 to 5 stages. There's actually about 10 to 15. And it's crazy, and it's same on the women's side as well. Like, you know, toning up, losing weight, getting stronger. There's multiple phases to it. Consistency, diet. The big one for me, going back to this pet hate thing, is you see a lot of, like, the big boys, the Olympia bodybuilders, the technique's awful. You see them post videos and they're quarter and half repping. Probably one, because the flexibility is absolutely rubbish. But two, because they're so full of gear that even if they move a weight slightly, they're going to increase.
100%.
Whereas,
that's a very good point you've made there, you know. But who are we to say? Do you understand what I mean? That's what people say, don't they? Yeah, but he looks like that. Who
exactly.
To say?
But I mean, we put the hard yards in terms of technique's key for me. Because unless you activate your muscle, it ain't going to work. Unless you're full of Diana ball.
But that's the thing.
then it will work.
Anything, you could probably get it on doing push-ups.
Exactly. And it will work for that, you know, purely because of the steroid influence. But initially, when you're putting the hard yards in naturally, then you have to get the technique right. If you don't, you get injured.
Of course you do.
And that's another thing that steroids does. It wipes injuries away straight away because it allows your body to heal very, very quickly.
Or if they get injured, they recover fast.
Exactly. And that's it. You know, we could do a killer leg session and we'd have DOMs for 2 days. They can do a killer leg session and be ready to go the next day, because that's what juice does for you. And
recovery
it's mad.
capabilities,
Oh, it is, yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had friends that have, been on juice, and they've told me that it's like super serum, and I'm like, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I've thought so many times, do I want to take the plunge? Do I want to take the plunge? Research the hell out of it, know a lot about it, which is why I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
But I've never took the plunge.
I think the key thing is like, if, like, I don't have a problem. My problem is, what's the message you're sending to people? That's what, like, if someone just does it off their own back and they keep quiet or whatever, just go about their own thing. It's the people that are selling plans. Yeah. Let's say they've had a transformation. They say, that's what I used to look like. That's what I look like now. Yeah. It's because of this, but it's just a complete lie, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I had someone that I worked with a long time ago. He is a PT and he competes now in bodybuilding.
Oh, okay.
But initially, when he just started really getting into his training, he was, I don't know, probably at about 75k.
Yeah.
So he was lean. Yeah. So he had muscle, quite a good physique.
Yeah.
And then within the space of about 3 months, he just ballooned.
Yeah.
And I called it straight away on juice, whatever. Yeah. And you could tell, just block shoulders come, acne everywhere, smashing the beds, whatever.
That's the key.
And that is the key.
Yeah.
And he then did a bit of a Q&A when you start a YouTube channel, and one of the questions was, have you ever done steroids, or are you on steroids? And he said no.
See, that's the problem, isn't it?
And I just laughed my head off. I was like, I can't believe he's just said that.
Yeah.
Because this was for his clients in terms of his business and stuff like that. Like, I have no doubt that he'll not deny it now because he's an absolute tank.
Yeah.
But back then, when he denied it, I was like, you absolute idiot. You've just, you stand out like a sore thumb already. The fact that you've said no, you're pumping this out to people.
You can't go back on that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And, anybody who watched that video, surely about 60-70% of them, anyone who knows training and kind of got a half an idea of what steroids do to you, must have looked and thought, you absolute moron.
Yeah, definitely. I know.
And he did that, and I was like, oh, I just literally.
And then the thing with that is, so he'll be coaching like lads who want to compete.
Yeah.
And saying he doesn't take anything, and they think, "Oh, brilliant! I'll be able to." That's the problem, isn't it? It's the moral side of it.
And that's the moral side of it in the beginning. I mean, like I say, I have no doubt now that he'll openly say the juice, because, like I say, he's probably 4 or 5 stone heavier than what he was. He's a unit now, and he does compete, which is fair enough. But I just think there's many stages, and I think that's not outlined enough on social media. Yeah. Everybody's just about angles. They're just about the booty, or they're just about, the men are just about the big chest, the shoulders, the arms, whatever, and pumping some big weights without actually telling you where they started on just a bar or 5Ks or whatever. Yeah. And now they're shifting 50k dumbbells and 60k dumbbells. Like, everyone started at 5s. You're not human if you haven't. And that's it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's an interesting topic, isn't it?
It is.
What are your? So obviously, at the start when we started this chat, you spoke about teaching, and you used to PT, and it got a bit too much, so you tapered down your hours. What have there been any changes in terms of the obstacles you face when it comes to health and fitness now versus then? Like, or have they always been quite consistent? Do you face certain challenges daily, like, I can't eat that because I want this, or I don't feel the motivation to work out today, so what do you think about to get you to the gym? Have they always been consistent, or is there a difference?
I think as you get older, it gets harder.
Yeah.
I think, let's say I was at school all day and I've had a heavy day with some really challenging kids, I've had to really, what's I'm trying to think of the word, calm a kid down, restrain a kid. They've kicked off big style, and all that kind of stuff. And physically, I've had to get involved, but then mentally, that's where it kind of really weighs on you. You've had a stressful day. I mean, you've got kids, if they kick off and they start fighting and screaming, it gives you instant headache.
Of course it does.
Or it just literally lifts up the stress level, and you're that kind of thing. Now, I've always said the biggest stress reliever is going to the gym and training, whether that's lifting weights or whether that's boxing or kickboxing. Both of them are my two loves in terms of anything gym related, them two straight away.
Yeah.
And I always used to advertise it with my clients. The best thing for you after you've had a hard day's work is stress relief. It's going to the gym to get rid of 100%. Stress. But for me, I've noticed that my metabolism's actually slowed down. Since I've stopped playing football, it's slowed down. So I have to do cardio now. If I don't, the gut comes. And it does. And I don't really store. The only place I really store body fat is front and the back. On my hips. And everywhere else I can shake it quite easily. But like you say, if I've had a hard day and I come in and I literally lie down on the sofa for 5 minutes and get comfortable, it then becomes very, very hard to get up and go. Because your body goes into a state of relax, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. It feels good, doesn't it? And then you're like, hold on, I'm meant to be going to the gym for 5. I've got to get up, come on. And I find that hard now. I do.
It is hard, isn't it?
I think that's consistency is another big one. I said that the other day, like, because I'm in such a good pattern at the minute. My consistency's there. Even if I'm tired, I know I'm going to the gym because I'll just tell myself, get up and go now. And I do. And as soon as I'm in that door, at the gym, the mindset's switched on. Right, what am I doing? I'm doing chest, or I'm doing this. Bang, we go straight in. Do a couple of warm sets, and then I'm ready to go. I'm good. So, I think keeping the consistency is a really hard thing. The older you get, definitely. Because the motivation's fighting against you as well.
And just generally more stresses in your life, isn't it?
And just more things. I mean, I've got a dog now. He's like a kid.
Well, it's good practice, isn't it?
Oh, bloody hell. Honestly, like, I've got eyes in the back of my head. And I know that he needs walk, he needs fed, and so that's added things to my day. As well as my girlfriend's day. So I think lifestyle's a big one.
It is.
But I always say to myself, I always say this to clients as well. You've got 24 hours in your day. You'll sleep for 8.
Work for 8.
work for 8. Then you've got 8 to do what you want. And an hour of that time should be get your backside in the gym or do something active.
Exactly. That's the
It doesn't necessarily have to be gym.
You
can go for a nice walk, or you can get out on the bike, or you can go play some sport, that kind of thing. But just do something rather than scrolling through your phone, which literally we're all guilty of doing. I do it.
Taking it down a bit.
My phone tells me what my average screen time was per day, and I'm like, Jesus.
But it's higher during summer holidays.
I can spend 5 hours a day on the phone and be like, this is embarrassing.
I bet it's all YouTube, like, fighting clips.
It is. No, it is. And a lot of it's fitness, a lot of it's fighting, a lot of it's football. Most sports. I love all sports, but and it's very easy to just lie back on the sofa and just go ding, 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 and scroll through. And like, obviously, like you say, that's where the pet hates come in when I see all these influencers just thinking, that they're amazing, when I know for a fact they haven't put the hard yards in. 100%. I always said this, going back to that, right? I say this to my girlfriend every time, and she'll go, oh, look at such and such, and oh, look at this. I was like, give me an hour with them, let me put them through a session. Let me see what they look like at the end of it. I'm not. My style was never to punish people.
No.
But if I put them through,
make them work a little bit.
But if I always want to work them, and I'll always gauge where they're at. I'll always gauge thinking, right, how hard can I push this person? If these influencers give it the big I am of, oh, I can do this and I can do that, and look at me and look at that. Do a session with me for an hour. See what happens. Because I would guarantee that half of them would be on the deck, and they wouldn't. I don't want them.
But you are right.
What I mean is, I would push them. Like, let's say they're doing a comfortable 10 rep. I'd be like, right, let's whack another 10, 20k on there. Let's drop the reps down to 6. Let's see how you do.
Without a doubt.
And I guarantee they'll be blown at the end of it. Just because I know that they're not pushing anywhere near the max.
Well, I've always said, if I look at my on the workouts my clients do outside of seeing me, if I just see 10, 10, 10 or 8, 8, 8 or 12, 12, 12, I'm like, you haven't. I want to see some odd numbers in there. Do you know what I mean? You want 7s or 11s or whatever.
Exactly. You want to see them either push for a few more, or you want to see that they've put the weight up and tried for the 10 or tried for the 8, and they've only got 6.
100%.
For me, that's another thing I try to install in them. Don't think you have to hit that every time. Especially if you've upped the weight, I expect the reps to come down. If you hit it, you've had the set of your life.
Exactly. 100%.
If you haven't, then we've made some hard yards because you've added, I don't know, you've went up a dumbbell on the rack, you've went from, I don't know, 20s to 22s or whatever, and you've gone up some weight, so I expect the reps to drop. And that's what I always gauge when we first kind of do the first 6 to 8 weeks, what we were talking about. I'm going to gauge where you're at for 10 reps, and I'm going to gauge where you're at for 6 reps. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's a big part of it, isn't it?
Oh, massively.
Yeah,
and you
really
constantly, and because people don't think that they're doing a high volume of reps, they're not gaining anything.
Yeah.
You know, we all know that your high volumes, your muscular endurance, and your lower volumes, your strength.
Yeah.
And it always goes that way all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't realize, they always think, I've got to hit that 10 or 12. I've got to hit that 10 or 12.
Yeah.
My girlfriend training in the gym, she'll always hit 10 or 12. All right, I'm gonna chuck another 5 either side.
Yeah.
See how many we can get out, and she'll get to about 8, and she's blowing. I'm like, right, I'll spot the last 2. Let's go. And she'll come off that set, and I'm like, bang, that was a hell of a set. That. She's like,
there's the growth.
Yeah, and exactly, there's the growth. Rather than just getting that comfortable 10 or 12, I've just whacked out 8 and I'm blowing. But I know I've stressed my muscles a lot, and I'm gonna grow. In the next couple of months, when I come to do that weight again, I'll fly. I'm on to the next lot.
Definitely. Well, the thing is, within that as well, there's it's your resilience and mental strength that you're building at the same time. You know, not just the physical side, but you've pushed through something you've never done before, and then that's going to take you forward into your next session and your next week and stuff. So,
and just touching on that, on the mental side, I always go to my clients, have you ever hit the wall? Do you know what the wall is? And they go, no, what do you mean? I'm like, right, okay. I was like,
we are gonna now.
Yeah, I was like, there'll come a point in our training where you will hit the wall, and you'll know what it is, because you can't push anymore. Nothing's happening. You've got halfway up the rep on your last rep, and I'm with you, I'm spotting you, but you've got halfway and you're pushing and nothing's happening. You're neither you're not losing or you're not gaining. You've literally hit. It's like somebody's put a big board in front of you and you're trying to get past it, and now it's happening. And that's the wall where you're absolutely blowing. You can see steam coming out your ears, and now it's happening. I always go, that's you at your peak. Mentally and physically pushing for that one last rep. And if I have to spot you, I spot you, but I'll let you go until you stop. When you stop, that's when I come in. And that's what I used to do with them. And they always laughed after hitting the wall, because they knew it was going to come at some point, but they didn't know when. Like you say, we went for a strength session where we're going for 4 to 6 reps only. And they've got that 5th rep as hard, and I'm like, go one more, I've got you, you be the same. And they go down for it. Let's say we're doing chest, and your hands are there by the elbows, and they're pushing, they get halfway up, and then it's like, and now it's happening. You're like, come on, and then you're right, we've hit the wall, let's go.
I see that as my client's first major victory in their training plan.
Completely agree.
Do you know what I mean? Because you don't, it's such a huge pivotal point in someone's training, because you can't describe that to somebody unless you've been through it.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, just to touch on the safety side of that as well, we've all seen people lifting weights that we know they can't lift, and the technique has been absolutely terrible. That's where the injury side comes in. But what we mean by the wall side is the technique's there, but we've just hit, that's it. And that is the priority.
No, definitely.
Because we've all seen the wrong way.
We have.
It ain't good.
Gonna finish soon. Just before we do, though, I want to just cover one more important topic. I saw, me and Louise saw a picture the other day. I won't say who it was, but it's someone we know of an 8-year-old kid that was, I'm going to say, morbidly obese. Morbidly, sometimes kids carry a bit of puppy fat. It's normal when they're young. But to the point where this kid looked like he was 15, but he was 8 years old. Like, it just sickened me to look at the picture. If you were a parent and that was your child, how would that make you feel? It's a pretty loaded one, this.
It's a hard question, because straight away, I know it sounds really cruel, but I'd feel embarrassed. But I'd also feel guilty, because I'd be like, have I done that? Have I allowed my kid to just shovel crap
basically
into their mouth? And allowed them to just doss around on the sofa on their PS or their Xbox or whatever. You're their role model. You have to be. Simple as that. I mean, again, with me being a teacher, I seen some kids who were 4 and 5 stone overweight, ridiculous, and they used to get ripped from the other kids for it. And some would take it and try and better themselves and really get stuck into when we did PE, because obviously I was you know, I taught PE mainly, and then I went obviously into the head of year stuff. But when I was teaching PE, if a kid put a shift in that was overweight, I would praise the hell out of them. And the boys would cotton onto that, and they'd be like, "Yes, mate, getting well done." You know,
that's brilliant. I love that.
And I loved that. I really loved that. And then they realised that, you know, Joe Bloggs, who's running around like an absolute madman in PE playing football, just tearing around the pitch, and you've got that kid who's overweight, seeing that, it spurred him on, which was great. But the fact that they give him encouragement works even more. On the flip side, giving them stick and calling them fat and this and that, I hated that. I really hated that. If that happened, though,
doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does, and it really does. When I done the head of year stuff, I was more on the pastoral side, kind of getting to know a kid, what goes on at home, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, various kids that I had in my year group who were overweight, I'd get a background on them, and we'd have chats. And I'd kind of gauge whether it was him, or whether it was the parents. And I could, you know, it's very easy to gauge, who it is. But if it was my kid, I mean, I wouldn't go army boot camp style, but I would say, look, I'd be like, right, we're cutting this out. You know, we're cutting this down. We're cutting this. We're definitely going to cut that out completely. We're going to find a substitute for it, this and that. And I'd do that. And
so on that then, so most of the time, let's say it's parental responsibility. Do you think it's an educational problem, or they're in denial as to the situation they're in, or maybe a bit of an overlap?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, normally when a kid is obese, their parents are obese. I mean, that's pretty much common. It really is. And that comes down to them being lazy. And they see the kid as a chore. When they send their kid off to school, it's the best thing ever, because we've got to deal with them. But from a school side, PE is very much one of the least favoured subjects. It's about English, maths and science. School's a business. Honestly, mate, school is a business, and until you've worked in education, you don't realise how much it is. Like, it's about statistics. It's about getting them GCSEs. If you've got them, you know, a high percentage of GCSEs in your school's amazing. We've done the best job ever. Pastoral side and physical and mental side, just shoved by the side.
Man, that's sad.
Honestly, it is, mate. It really is. And I used to, like, the school I've just come from, they were so just not bothered about PE. Whereas my school before that, the heartbeat of the school was PE, because we had so many kids who were in professional academies. We had kids who did dance. We had kids who did performing arts. It was amazing. It was great. But the principal still tried to kind of shove it in the corner, and I used to shout about it from the rooftop.
So where is the problem? Is it high up, or is it an individual school?
It's the government. It's the curriculum. So you know, you'll know that the government legislation came out for everybody about, you know, you should do at least 25 minutes of exercise per day, or something that raises your heart rate. But in school, you get PE once, twice a week max. PE should be a lesson every single day. Every day. One, it lets kids blow off steam. So if they're hyper, if they've got ADHD, they're blowing off steam. So if they come into a lesson, they're going to be a bit more chilled. Two, obviously the health benefits. You know, there should be forms of nutrition in there. Eat well plates, you know, what moderation, what you should be doing this, what you should be doing that. School meals, they're trying to get healthier with the school meals now, which is a plus. But it's the fact that the curriculum says, oh, we'll just chuck in a couple of hours of PE a week, that's it. Unless you do GCSE PE or BTEC PE, you will be limited to 1 or 2 hours a week of PE. That's it.
That is bad, actually.
That's it. And it's more about your English, math, science. You do English, math, science every single day.
And then the thing is, on that, unless you're sport orientated,
you're not going to
suffer, aren't you?
You're going to go home and you're going to scroll through TikTok, scroll through Instagram, hang around with your mates, but literally hang around on a street corner, hang around in a park, not really do much. And it stems, like, there's a big responsibility from a parent side and a big responsibility from an education side, and they need to meet in the middle. Because if they don't, I mean, obesity rates are going up. Because they are, because of the cost of living is higher. People are buying cheaper food, which we know is pumped full of saturated fats, and the healthy food is now more expensive. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Oh God, oh, it's crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy,
like the price of fruit. Of fruit's crazy now. Like I mean, they might have only added 20-30 pence to a bunch of bananas or you know, some strawberries or something, but that mounts up, man.
Yeah, of course it does.
It does, and like if you like a variety of fruits, like I do, and probably you do.
I love fruit. Yeah.
And same with like meats and things like that. A variety of different meats. You pay a lot of money for it.
It's expensive, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. So I think that
she made me go to the supermarket with her not long ago. So I was like, nah.
Yeah.
It's always good to Aldi instead of Morrison's.
If you don't go to the supermarket though, it's always good to go once in a while, because with you watching your diet, you will see how much it actually costs for your diet.
100%.
And you're probably like, Christ, I remember when it was £1 cheaper or whatever it was.
Yeah, a lot more than that.
I always go back to when I was younger, about 15, 16. I remember going down to the corner shop at the bottom of my street, and I could get a Mars bar or a Snickers for 50, 60 pence.
Yeah.
Now it's 120.
That's madness.
And I remember the size of them. They used to be decent. Used to get a good portion. You remember going for a mix-up, like a 50 pence mix-up. You can't get a penny.
No.
A penny tuna.
No, you can't.
You can't.
It's if you get like a pick and mix at the cinema or something, 10 15 quid.
Oh, exactly.
For like, you know.
And I'm like, I remember getting a 50p mix-up. I would get 50 individual pieces for 50 pence. That's crazy. A Freddo was 10 pence.
Yeah. Oh God.
Remember that?
Yeah. Of course I remember it.
That was absolutely nuts. But now, it's changed a lot. Everything has gone up, so it makes it harder to actually eat healthy.
Yeah.
Everybody bangs on about, oh, it's not hard to eat healthy. You do this, you do that. It is, because we can't afford it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if you want to do it, having the money to do it is another factor you've got to chuck in there.
No,
so
100%.
Yeah, going back to your question, I think I would feel guilty because it was my kid, and I'd be setting standards for my kid.
Yeah.
And I'd also feel a bit embarrassed, because we do live in a culture now where health and fitness is massive.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's like
trending.
It's at the epicenter of life.
Yeah, 100%.
But also I guess it's easy for us to say because we're in the thick of it.
Yeah, of course.
But on the flip side, I think obesity rates have never been higher.
Yeah.
If my knowledge is correct.
Do you know what though? Just on exactly what you've just said there. You know, when people say it's easy for you because. And I understand that. It's easy to say something from a place of I've got it all sorted.
Yeah.
But I think they also forget we've built this.
Oh, God, yeah,
We've been through the hard yards to get to this kind of stage.
If you haven't been through the hard yards, you're lying.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unless you're like Hercules and you've been born with the best genetics ever. Like, going back to people who were talking about earlier on, your Arnie's, your that, your this, they will tell you it was not easy game at the start. Like, they have put in some hard yards. And the biggest thing is starting.
Of course it is.
Get past your first year of training, then you start to really learn. You start to really learn. But getting past that first 6 weeks is the one. If you can get past that hill climb, it'll start to plateau and level out, and then we start really getting into it. But unless you're willing to put the hard yards in for 6 weeks, then you need to think about, is that what you want?
100%.
Because it's about building the mental state and as well as a physical.
I'm going to take that as your answer to what advice would you give to a beginner. I'm going to say get through them first tough 6 weeks.
That's
it's a hill climb.
That was my philosophy, and I always stick by that. And it's probably not too similar to yours.
No, it's the same.
Yeah,
because a lot of common denominators, mate. I know everyone is different, but generally I feel that 6 to 8 weeks, it's just a slog, but you get through that, and transformations are insane after that.
Yeah, and it's about making it a habit.
Yeah, 100%.
If you can make something a habit, then you you do it. And you don't necessarily think too much about doing it.
No.
So I think we've always, for as long as I've known you, we've always been pretty much on the same page when it comes to the mindset and what we
stand for, kind of.
Yeah, what we stand for and the way we want to educate people.
Yeah.
I always think that.
Very similar.
No, yeah.
Right, mate, a couple of questions to finish then.
Go on.
You can only do 2 upper body, 2 lower body, and 1 cardio exercise for the rest of your life. What are they?
I know my cardio straight away.
Boxing.
Yeah.
Again,
in my class that I do every single week, I always say we don't do cardio because you get cardio from boxing because it's a full body movement.